Is DaNang Vietnam still affordable? Hi guys, I'm KB. I'm a full-time traveler. On this channel, I share my real experiences traveling full-time, my budget, travel tips, and tricks. So if you like videos like that, click like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos. In this video, I'm going to share with you my real numbers and real spending for a whole month in Da Nang, Vietnam, and break down everything, all the expenses, and how much it costs to live in Da Nang, Vietnam as a full-time traveler. I track my spending on this app called Travel Spend. There's a free version and there's a paid version. This basically does the basics of tracking your travel expenses and different categories and things like that. And I'm going to share my screen with you. I have my numbers right in front of me on my computer. So the first expense, of course, is housing. Housing and food are probably the most expensive categories. For me, the first one is rent. My rent for my apartment on Mikey Beach cost me $471.56. Plus utilities. In this app, utilities is categorized separately, so it's categorized differently as an other fee instead of accommodation. But it is $471.56. I'll make the correction here. Also, plus $10 for faster Wi-Fi and another 60 to 50 for electricity and water utilities, things like that. Now, this is an Airbnb, fully furnished. It does come with weekly housekeeping. If you want to see what this apartment looks like on Mikey Beach, check out my other video that I made about this. Second category is food, basically eating out, grab orders, and things like that. So grab delivery is very affordable. Eating out is also very affordable. One of the things I like about Da Nang is the diverse food scene. You can pretty much get food from anywhere, any cuisine you want. And Da Nang, you can have it delivered or go dine in. So for that, oh, by the way, this is a disclaimer. This spending is for both me and my spouse together. So restaurant, we spent $454.25. And groceries, this app separates it. So groceries, it's probably just like Moon Milk or Mini Mart or somewhere like that, where we're grabbing just a few things at a time, household stuff, toiletries, little odds and ends, and snacks, and some food items and things like that. Majority of the food cost is under the category of restaurants, and that includes grab delivery, food, and eating out. And we did eat out at least once or twice a day. We eating out, sometimes 3 times a day. We cooked very minimally in Da Nang because the food is so affordable to eat out. By the time you go to a grocery store, buy the ingredient, bring it home, cook something, it probably going to cost you the same amount or close to it if you just order, grab, or go out to eat. Next categories is activities. We spent $346.66. That includes several trips and excursions and activities like getting massages, going on day tours, taking a boat tour in Halong Bay, things like that. Those are all included in there. For 2 people, it was $346.66. Next category is transportation. This only includes ground transportation. So it's grab rides and also inner city rides like a limousine between Hanoi and Halong Bay. They call it limousine. It's basically like a microbus. It's like a nice microbus for transfer people between cities and things like that. So that one is transportation is $238.91. And then flights, we did take a round trip flight from Da Nang to Hanoi to go to Halong Bay and then back from Hanoi to Da Nang. And also this includes our flight into Da Nang. The reason these flights coming from the US to Da Nang as well as a round trip to Hanoi is so low for flight costs is for majority of these flights, we used our Amex points transferred to airline transfer partners and booked it on points. And these are just the fees. And I'm going to break it down for you. So the next category is we spent $94.73 for groceries. So like I said, those are just purchases at a mini mart around the corner, small shops, things like that. And then we spent $179.84 in other category. So in general, we spent in general spending $72.71. We spent $50 in fees and charges, and the $50 fee is solely the Vietnam e-visa. It costs $25 for 90 days for a Vietnam visa online, and for 2 people, it costs us $50. for the e-visa to come to Vietnam. And then coffee has its own category because Vietnam coffee deserves its own category. So far, we spent $41.06 in coffee. Excuse me. Now, this is separate from we would oftentimes use Grab app to order coffee, and that is not included. That's included under restaurants because all of Grab delivery purchases just went through restaurants. But this is actually because we went physically into the coffee shop to purchase coffee. And Vietnam coffee is the best because they use a Robusta. The next category under others or miscellaneous is entertainment. We spent $11.46 in entertainment, and that is 2 movie tickets for Mission Impossible movie that came out. $11.46 for 2 movie tickets and popcorn and drinks and snacks. So that's how much it cost to see a movie in Vietnam. The others is $4.61 for shopping. I think that was like sandals or flip-flops or something. I think my flip-flop broke, so I got a new one, just a cheap one from the store down the street, and it was for 61 cents. So in general category of $72.71, it includes our VPN. VPN is really important when you're traveling overseas to stay protected, keep your information. So our VPN cost $3.50 per month, paid annually, and monthly breakdown is $3.50. eSIMs for Vietnam, we use AirHelp, and it cost us $20 for 2 for the month. I think it's 30-day, 5 gig data that comes with the eSIM that costs $10 for Vietnam per month. So that's why we paid for it. And then also it includes our Wi-Fi phone app called Magic that we use to call US to communicate with people in the US. But later I found that Magic app does not receive the two-step authentication that you get from your bank. So I had to switch to another service, and I'll cover the cost for that later. Now, you're also seeing here flight cost from LAX to Taipei. The taxes and fees for 2 people was $36.20. That's just the taxes and fees. And we, like I said, used our Amex points that we got from signing up for the Amex Gold card. I think we got like 90,000 or 100,000 Amex points, and we transferred over to an airline partner and booked it on points. And then from Taipei to DaNang, same thing. We used points, and taxes and fees came down for that flight to $55.80 for 2 people. And now Airbnb, you're seeing 371. That does not include the $100 voucher credit I had on Airbnb. So that should be $471.56. And then we had other utilities and internet, like I mentioned. Oh, this does include our flight layover in Taipei and LAX to come to Vietnam. And those were enormous. So I did not have Priority Pass at the time. I did sign up for Priority Pass after that. You do save a lot of money at airport lounges if you have Priority Pass, especially outside of the US. The lounges are not as crowded and the food is a lot better. So I did sign up for Priority Pass after that, but at the time I didn't have it. So we spent over $111, $12 on airport food. Also, during this month, we took several trips. One day trip with the group. That was a 1-day trip. And then we did a weekend trip to Hoi An, which is about 25-minute drive from DaNang. So that includes our hotel costs in Hoi An, which is $51.28 for 2 nights. And then in this expense, there is also a trip, 4-night, 5-day trip to Halong Bay, where we took a round trip flight to Hanoi and back, and then took a limo from Hanoi to Halong Bay and back. So those are all included in this budget. And if you want to see my hotel tour about Halong Bay Hyatt Place, check out my other video that I made about that and how to book that hotel for free. Yeah, there's a lot of food orders. As you can see, grab rides, food orders, massages. All right. And flight to Hanoi and back round trip, we also used Amex points to book those on Virgin Atlantic. And the taxes and fees came to $83.60 for 2 people for round trip to Hanoi and back to DaNang. To go to Halong Bay from DaNang, we took a flight from DaNang to Hanoi, and then we took a Grab app to go to a pickup spot to jump on the limousine or microbus. And then have them drive us to Halong Bay and drop us off at our hotel. And that cost $27.32 for 2 people. And then the Grab from Hanoi Airport to the limousine stop was $9.96. And then our cruise at Halong Bay for 2 people, 1-day cruise cost $58. We spent another $13.35 on drinks and snacks on the boat. On the way back to DaNang, we took the same limousine or microbus that picked us up from our hotel in Halong Bay, drove us to Hanoi, and not only to Hanoi, but also to Hanoi Airport. For 2 people, that cost $37.60. And for a phone call to the US, I ended up switching to an app called Tello. Tello, you make calls to US and receive calls and text messages, a 2-step text authentication verification from your banks in the US. So that's what ended up working for me, Tello, rather than Magic, but we ended up paying for both. So for Tello, I paid $20 for the setup fee and then $10 a month for service fee. And so, yeah, that's what worked for altogether or monthly spending. I spent $2,015 for a whole month in Da Nang, Vietnam for 2 people as a full-time traveler. Let me know what you think. Is it more than you thought or less than what you thought would be in Vietnam for a whole month? If you want to check out my hotel tour in Halong Bay that I stayed 4 nights for free, check out my video on that. And then also my trip to Hoi An. It's also in the playlist called Vietnam Ultimate Guide. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.